Good morning, campers. Congratulations, you did it. You've bagged yourself a ticket to the greatest festival in the world. The feeling of relief is like no other. After anxiously waiting and hitting refresh until your fingers fall off, you finally receive that lovely confirmation email. You can now sit back and start to get excited about attending Glastonbury. But now what? What happens next? Welcome to the Beginner's Guide to Glastonbury Festival. In this video, I'm going to talk about everything Glastonbury related and take a deep dive into many of the questions surrounding the festival. Hopefully we will cover a lot of ground here and provide all the info you will need before heading off to your first ever Glastonbury. This year will mark 10 years since I went to my first ever Glasto. Having been to every one since 2013, I'm going to try my best to spread some wisdom on everything I have learned over the last 10 years, help give some great tips to you all and provide an idea of what to expect along the way. So, where do we begin? What is Glastonbury Festival? Glastonbury is a special place, a place where anyone on earth can come and have the best time of their lives. The festival caters to the most varied demographic I've ever seen at any festival and has a spectrum of different activities spread across the entire site. It feels like 10 festivals rolled into one and has a unique infectious vibe that you can feel before even getting into the gates. You struggle to find someone who isn't happy and living their best life here. Every person with a golden ticket, every person knowing how lucky they are to be there, from the punters to the staff to the artists and performers, and even the stowaways. Glastonbury is the largest greenfield music and performing arts festival in the world, with a capacity of over 200,000 people. The festival itself is situated in Pilton, which is in the county of Somerset in the southwestern English countryside. The festival has been located here at Worthy Farm since 1970, founded by the Lord himself, Michael Levis. The site itself is enormous. Honestly, I can't stress that enough. You probably won't see what the entire festival has to offer from one visit to the farm alone. The festival is spread across 1,100 acres of land, which is the equivalent of 500 football pitches. With a perimeter of over 8 miles, the festival is guarded by a super fence, which is 4.12 metres high and can be seen from miles away. Glastonbury has an incredible number of different areas, each with its own theme and style, completely different from the next. There are over 100 stages and venues, 100 bars, more than 500 food stalls and over 5,000 toilets and urinals. You've probably heard about the long drops by now. I don't think you ever do truly get used to the smell. With all this in mind, what can we expect when attending Glastonbury? What sort of information will you need to know? Let's talk about travel. Travelling to the festival can be daunting due to the festival's sheer size. When setting off by car to the festival, you will need to decide which side you enter the festival from, east or west. This decision will be based on what pedestrian gate you want to enter from. The gate you choose should be the one closest to the campsite you will be trekking to when you set up camp, and then when you leave the festival, it will be closest to the car park where your car is for the return journey. Be sure to bear in mind where you want to camp before setting off, as this will give you an easier time finding the route you will need to take as you head in. As you approach the festival outskirts, there will be signs for you to follow. These will guide you to the direction of all the different coloured routes. There will normally be stewards on hand as you head towards the festival, who can guide you if you are unsure or feel you are getting lost. Once you have got to your desired entrance and route from east or west side, you will begin to get onto the grassy site and head towards a parking space. It is important to bear in mind that once on a particular route, you will be ushered to wherever it is that the stewards tell you to park. You won't be able to park right at the front door of the pedestrian gate you want to access, and there will be a lot of walking involved, which we will come to. As you are ushered in, you will have to present your car parking permit in your car. If you haven't already pre-ordered one of these, they can easily be bought for cash on the gate. It was £60 on the gate last year, so if you pre-order one, you will save money. I would recommend getting as close as possible to the festival as early as 5 AM to avoid any traffic. The peak times for arriving are between 7 AM and 2 PM on Wednesday. It would be better to arrive before 7 AM rather than after 2 PM if you want to get a better camping spot and just generally be on the festival site enjoying the time there sooner. Car parks begin to open at 9 PM on the Tuesday night. Some people decide to queue overnight and pull an all-nighter. This can sometimes be beneficial, but not necessarily. I queued from 12 o'clock Tuesday night one year, while some of my friends left at 5 AM and got in before us. The overnight queuing method can make the Wednesday very taxing. Some years there can be 6-hour queues getting into the car parks. Other times it can take 30 minutes. Once near the farm, you can tune in to Worthy FM on 87.7 FM. This will keep you up to date on any local traffic news whilst approaching the festival site. Once you have parked up, take a photo of the location your car is parked in before heading off to the entry gates. There will be big flags in the car parks color coded with numbers on. For example, if you are in pink, it could say P37, etc. If you have decided to camp in the family camping areas, you will need to enter from either pedestrian gate A or pedestrian gate B. It's possible to stay at the festival in motor accommodation. For the first time ever, we've hired an RV for this year's Glastonbury. Staying in campervan accommodation is slightly different to the general car parking experience. These tickets are separate from a normal ticket and have their own sale, which usually happens a few weeks after the main ticket sales. To apply for one, you must have already purchased a ticket in a normal festival ticket sale. This year, the cost of a general camper ticket was £150. There are two different types of camper campsites at Glastonbury. The first site is the General Campervan East site, which can be accessed from the east side of the festival by taking the blue route. To stay in this campsite, your camper must be no bigger than 8 meters in length, as these pitches are 8 meters by 7 meters in size. If you have a motor accommodation that is larger than this, then you will be redirected to the Bath and West Showground campsite. Here you can take accommodation that is up to 16 meters in length. The price for a large campervan pitch at the Bath and West Showground is £250. There are 24-hour bus shuttles here that come and go to the festival site. Pitches are allocated on a first come first served basis, and it is typically a 10-minute walk from the Campervan East campsite to the edge of the festival. Something to bear in mind are the rules of what constitutes a campervan. It is said that anything that has purpose-built, fitted sleeping facilities and either fitted cooking or washing facilities can be considered one. There seems to be a few rules with the campers, and simply just going in a work van and putting an airbed in the back will see you being redirected to the standard camping car parks, which you are unable to camp in due to licensing reasons. It would be best to check that what you are taking with you is applicable, as it would be a nightmare if you were to be turned away after bagging a campervan ticket. Other things worth mentioning: there are no electricity outlets for campers in the campervan fields, and generators are banned at the festival. This means running power off the leisure battery and charging sporadically if necessary off the engine. You can park another car alongside your camper, as well as pitch a tent or use an awning, as long as it fits within your designated pitch. First entry to the campervan fields will be at 12 o'clock in the daytime on Tuesday. Campers that arrive before this and try to queue may be obstructing the highway and are asked not to do so. Once you are in on Tuesday, you will spend the day in the camper fields before gaining access to the site on Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. Friends are able to visit you in your camper at the campervan site, so if you have a camper ticket, this is not an issue. If you arrive in a camper, the ticket holder that the campervan ticket is registered with must be in the camper at the time of entry for you to be allowed access. A campervan ticket is a good idea if you don't want to trek in and out of the festival with a tent and all the luggage that comes with it, and you are able to start the festival fun as soon as you enter on Wednesday morning. However, the campervan field is a bit of a trek compared to the camping in the main campsites, so the pros and cons are just down to personal preference. Getting the coach might be the easiest method of getting to Glastonbury. You simply hop on at the coach station from the city that you booked it at, or give in your ticket on the coach, and then you hop off inside the coach park at the festival. I've taken the coach twice, and it was particularly stress-free. There are around 22,000 coach ticket options available for the festival. Applying for a coach ticket means that you get an extra chance at grabbing a ticket to the festival, as these are usually released on the Thursday prior to the general Sunday sale. If you manage to get one of these, it's a nice feeling knowing your ticket is sorted early. Getting the coach, however, means that what you can bring with you is limited, and you will have to plan a bit better and pack lighter. Wheelbarrows and mini tow trucks for transporting luggage are banned on the coach, so you are unable to make use of these whilst heading into the festival grounds if you have a coach ticket. One of the biggest questions people ask before their first Glastonbury is, what is the best campsite? This is often subjective, as each campsite area has its own pros and cons. It's said that 60% of people that return to the festival will always camp at the same campsite. The campsite you choose is entirely up to you, but make sure it's as close as it can be to the gate you are entering from. The voids to your campsite can be incredibly difficult, which can be made much worse if you enter from an opposite gate. If it's hot, then you will melt. If it's wet, then the muddy terrain makes it difficult to traverse across the site. If you are coming with a large party, it's best to pick a campsite that may be a bit further out, so that you will have space to set up all the tents with your friends when you arrive. If you can't enter on the Wednesday with your friends, get them to take your tent and set it up for you, or you may be left without a spot when you get there. The campsites are all within the festival grounds on the actual site, and there is no camping area separate to the festival arena, like there are at places such as Reading Festival. Once you are in, you are in. The campsite you choose could be decided on which areas are nearest to where you'll be spending the most time. It could be for noise reasons, and maybe you prefer a quieter place to camp. It could be a campsite that is right in the middle of the action, or it could be a campsite catered towards disabilities or families. Let's take a look at the different campsites, as well as the other types of accommodation you will find at the festival. Starting with the northwest side of the festival, there is the cyclist camping, pylon ground, Darble and River Mead. These are all situated right in front of the entrance to pedestrian gate A. The cyclist camping is an area obviously reserved for the greenest of travellers. There are safe lockups here for people who cycle to the festival, and you will need to travel down the bronze route to gain access to this camping spot. The other 3 campsites are great spots for anyone who is arriving late to the festival, as they are very close to the entrance and don't usually fill up as quick as other areas. The camping areas to the north of the festival are home to the Lower Mead, Wicket Ground, Limekiln Ground, Hitchin Hill Ground, Michael's Mead, Hawkwell and Spring Ground. These campsites are all within close distance to each other and are close to the pyramid stage. If sitting around by the main stage all day is your thing, then this may be the area for you. This section, however, is far from the southeast corner, so if the late night shenanigans don't interest you that much, then this may be a good spot. Also situated near here is the Woodseas area, once known as the John Peel stage. It's also close to the Silver Haze, which is the dance village. These camping areas are situated in the middle of Gate A and Gate B. The Wicket Ground is one of the 2 family camping areas at the festival. The Spring Ground is the camping area for people with disabilities. This area is more accessible than all the other campsites and has charging facilities for mobility scooters. It also has proper washing and medical facilities. In order to camp here, you must register your interest well in advance to gain a spot. The northeast campsites are Roe Mead, Cockmill Meadow, Kidney Mead and Big Ground. These are situated to the east side of the pyramid stage and are near the Kidsfield, Medical Centre and the bandstand areas. Cockmill Meadow is the second family camping area at the festival. Accessing these spots would require you to enter the festival via Gate B or Gate C. These areas are still close to the pyramid stage, but also make it quicker when travelling to the southeast corner. Directly to the south, smack bang in the middle of the festival, is the Pennard Hill. This is widely regarded as the busiest and loudest campsite due to its location right next to the park, being the closest campsite to the southeast corner. A highly contested spot, it is a short walk to the nightlife areas and allows easy access to pretty much any location on the site. You could decide to get to this campsite through either Gate C or Gate D. The southwest areas are home to the Park Home Ground, Paynes Ground, South Park 1 and 2, Rigsfield, Baileys and Backhouse. The Park Home Ground and the Paynes Ground are right near Arcadia and the other stage, and are also quite busy campsites. They're also very close to the Intergalactic Highway, which is a straight concrete path that takes you directly to the southeast corner. The other campsites in this area are quite far back, and so are a good choice if you fancy a camp on the quieter side, or if you are entering the festival a bit later. To access these campsites, you should enter through Pedestrian Gate D. Finally, the western campsites are the Bushy Ground, Dairy Ground and Oxlers. Bushy Ground is very close to the gate and allows quick access to the Silver Haze area. Whilst the Dairy Ground may seem to be a bit out of the way, it's where I have camped 75% of the time at the festival. It has all the space I mentioned earlier for setting up camp with large groups of friends. It's very close to Pedestrian Gate D and is closer than you think to the highway, the other stage and Arcadia. Oxlers is the campsite directly opposite the other stage. This area is usually quick to fill up and you can see the acts on the other stage from the comfort of your tent. It does get busy in this area with people passing by, so this is another thing to think about. These can all be accessed via Pedestrian Gate D. If you don't fancy camping in the general camping areas, then there are a few other types of accommodation you could consider. As explained earlier, there is the campervan option. If you don't own a campervan, then you are allowed to hire one. GoBooney is a decent company which is like the Airbnb of campervans. The festival also operates a pick-up and drop-off area for anyone wishing to collect their camper from a contractor at the festival before they head into the campervan camping areas. There is also the option of pre-erected camping at the farm, which is officially organised by the festival. The camping offers on offer are the Teepee Village, Worthy View and Stick Lynch campsite. These options are paid packages and will cost extra on top of your ticket. They can be seen as upgrades to some people, as you get a more secluded camping experience with other facilities such as compost toilets and showers. Staying in the teepee field in one of the 6-man teepees will cost you £1,500, and the demand for these is extremely high. The teepee field is one of the coolest looking things at the festival, and is an immersive area with majestic views situated next to the park and the stone circle. The teepees have a lot of room around them, and you won't be sandwiched in amongst a load of tents here. The Worthy View and Stick Lynch campsites offer pre-erected camping with a wide variety of different camping options available. Prices for accommodation here can vary. The cheapest package is a 2-person scout tent which starts at £400, and the dearest is an 8-person large scout tent which is £1,400. This is a great option if you don't want to trek across site with all your camping equipment and have to set a camp up. It also means if you arrive later, you won't have to worry about finding a space to pitch your tent. The Worthy View campsite is located as far south as possible just outside of the festival grounds, above the hill on a very steep gradient. The campsite has its own car park, which is the Worthy View car park. To enter from this area and park your car here, you will need to remember to purchase a Worthy View car park pass, or you may have to enter from one of the main pedestrian gates and trek up the hill. Car parking passes for this campsite are £55. The Stick Lynch campsite is at the very southwest of the festival and resides in the area where the West Campervan fields used to be. This area is similar to Worthy View in terms of what accommodation is on offer, and a parking permit for this area can also be bought for £55. If you feel as if you can't be seen anywhere near the Mud Dwellers and would like a more premium glamping experience, then there are third-party sites situated outside of the festival grounds that can cater to this type of experience. The Pop-Up Hotel, for example, is said to be the most glamorous place to camp of all, which has accommodation ranging from £3,500 to £25,000. This area is known to be crawling with celebrities and has a sauna, a swimming pool and 5-star catering facilities. If you have the finances available for this type of experience, then it may be an option you could look into. Now that you know how to get to the festival and have decided where you will be staying, the next thing we will cover is the process of getting in. After you leave your transport, you will need to begin the ritual of getting inside the gates and heading into the festival. As you head towards your chosen pedestrian gate of choice, you will begin to see queues of people piling up as you get much closer to the grounds. Some people will decide to start cracking cans open early and get into the festival spirit as soon as possible. This is always a viable thing to do at Glastonbury, but be careful not to get too legless, as you will be enjoying a long walk and there are a few things you need to be alert for. It would be wise to make sure you use the toilets before getting too far into the queue, as the portaloos are few and far between once you are in, and you could be here for many hours. Make sure all your possessions are safe before you set off, and triple check you haven't forgotten anything. Be sure to have some food and hydration on hand, and maybe sun cream if it's boiling hot. Make sure your trolleys are tied up well if you are using these for transporting your luggage. Having your luggage fall out onto the ground could be very inconvenient and holds up the queue for everyone. Another good thing to have on hand is your camping chair, as this can be sat on for periods of standstill, and the rest breaks in between the line moving can be helpful. As you get closer to the gate, you may be searched. There is a long list of things that you can't bring to the festival which can be found on the Glastonbury website. A lot of these items are pretty much common sense. Make sure you have not brought any glass with you and have decanted all your alcohol before even leaving the house, as glass is strictly banned at the festival. Anything that is not allowed at the festival will be confiscated, so if you accidentally bring something that they aren't happy with, then they may take this from you. After passing the search checkpoint, you will be going to the ticket check area. Make sure you have your ticket safe and are ready to present it to the stewards. Here the stewards will check the ticket that you have and visually compare it to you. Glastonbury is unlike most other festivals in this regard, and the registered ticket identification is used to stop touts from buying tickets and reselling them on at extortionate prices. Once you have been checked and are granted access, you will head to the wristband collection point with your ticket to get a wristband. Make sure you put your wristband on your non-wiping hand for obvious reasons. After this glorious moment, you will head through to the final turnstile and collect your free festival programme and lanyard before finally setting foot onto the farm. If you have a lot of luggage and have decided to break the journey up into 2 trips, then you are able to head back to your car to collect things. It is very important that once in the festival, you keep your ticket and your wristband safe. If you want to leave the festival, then you must get a pass out from the stewards at the gate, and when re-entering, you will need to present the holy trifecta of a pass out, a ticket and your wristband. I learnt this the hard way last year. After an intoxicated first night up the stone circle, I woke up the following morning, to my horror, without a wristband on. Losing any of these items means you'll need to go through extra checks to obtain the document you will need when re-entering. This is a waste of festival time and really isn't worth the hassle, so please look after your ticket, wristband and pass out. One of the other big questions people ask before attending Glastonbury is, what should I pack? Some people say that taking hardly anything in is the best way to go, and travelling light is the best method. Others believe that taking in literally everything you will need to survive the 5 days at the festival is a better idea. This is again all down to personal preference. The less you take, the easier it is getting in and out of the festival, but the more you take could determine how comfortable you are when surviving in the middle of a city-sized field for 5 days. If you're not much of a camping person, then you may want to take in a few extra items and do a few trips, at the cost of time spent at the beginning of the festival. If you are someone that enjoys a shower, or prefers all the creature comforts while spending time in the tent, then packing everything you need could be very helpful. If you just can't be bothered and are happy with the bare minimum, then travelling light will make the journey in very easy for you. Again, this is all down to preference. Bear in mind that you should only bring what you plan on taking home with you. Love the farm and leave no trace. I have put together a packing list for taking to the festival. This was mostly what I took last year and I was very comfortable. Pick and choose what you like from this list, but there may be some things that are a bit extra or not included for you. This was put together from a man's perspective, so ladies, feel free to add or subtract whatever is necessary. Having a wheelbarrow or a tow truck can make the journey in and out easier, even with a lot of luggage. Make sure it's not one of the cheap weak ones that won't make it past the queue. Something with a strong metal frame that won't bend or snap, with thick tyres is a good choice. When choosing a tent, make sure it's a decent one that isn't just one layer that will leak. Take one you know that will be easy for you to set up, but also one that you will be able to sleep in with space and be comfortable in. It's a good idea to set your tent up before you arrive and have a practice run so you know what you're doing when you get to the campsite. You can also see if the tent is damaged or missing any components. Don't forget your tent pegs, and taking tape with you can be good if you accidentally snap a pole or rip the lining of the tent. You can choose between a duvet or a sleeping bag, whatever is comfiest for you. A sleeping bag is much easier to carry as it can be packed down nicely and will save you space. Duvets are often a lot heavier and take up more room, so bear this in mind. Having an airbed can save your back a lot of discomfort, as sleeping on the floor for 5 days can be taxing. If you take an electric pump, this will also save you labour after the journey of getting in. Bringing a pillow is much comfier than just using a rucksack or some clothes to rest your head on. A good camping chair is vital, as you will want somewhere comfy to sit when at the camp. Make sure you have a sturdy camping bag that can be tightened comfortably on your back. You'll need to make sure you pack this efficiently and keep everything compartmentalised for easy access when you arrive at your camp. Last year I brought a shower tent, a solar shower and a big water carrying container. This meant I was able to have a budget shower every morning right beside my tent. This little hack is a game changer. These can be purchased from most major outdoor retailers. Other people are happy to have a wet wipe shower and that will do them for the festival. Bear in mind that the queues for the shower facilities at the festival can be enormous at peak times, and they can usually be very far from where you are camped, so having one beside your tent is a huge time saver if you need one. Don't forget to bring a towel to dry off with and some toiletries for washing with. Bring enough clothes to last the duration of the festival, and even extra socks and underwear. Bringing something comfy to wear for the drive home is also a good tip, so pack for that also. Glastonbury is notorious for its extreme weather conditions. Everyone has seen the mud, everyone has heard about the heat. In 2016, the site was a complete mud bath. In 2019, it was the hottest day ever recorded at the festival. To prepare yourself for the weather, you should pack for both. I would take both trainers and wellies. If you are able to spend 5 days in trainers, then the festival will be an easier experience. But with spells of rain, some areas can get muddier than others. If it's a complete downpour, the mud can get so deep that you often get stuck and have to be pulled out. When it's like this, it can mean that when you are out, there is nowhere to sit down, as the entire site becomes mud. You may find benches at the food vendors, but they will be heavily contested, and often the time spent on your camping chair at the campsite is one of the only places you will be able to sit down and rest. It's important that when this is the case, you have comfy wellies and your feet aren't rubbing, giving you blisters. A no-brainer really. Don't forget to bring your ticket and keep it safe whilst on the farm. Also, don't forget your cash and ID. Most vendors take cash, as cards and network services can be unreliable, so be prepared to use a mix of cash and card when on the site. And of course, bring ID if necessary to buy pints at the bars. A reliable portable charger is a godsend so that you can keep in touch with people and take photos. Phone charging facilities can have very long queues and wait times and are a waste of festival time. Another handy thing to have is a head torch. The campsites can be pitch black at night, so being able to see what you're doing is extremely helpful. Don't forget to bring batteries for your electronics, such as the air pump and your torch. A phone tripod is an optional tool for photography. Toilet roll and wet wipes will be your best friend at the festival. There is often none at the long drops, so you will want to be prepared. Wet wipes can be used for cleaning yourself and for using at the toilet. You may be very surprised when you see the state of the long drops for the first time, so keep your toilet roll and wet wipes close at hand for when you have to use them. Bin liners are versatile and often forgotten about. They can be used for storing wet clothes and items and for putting wellies in inside of your tent. If the weather's hot, you won't want to spend 5 days squinting. Make sure you invest in some sunglasses. They don't have to be expensive. Sun cream is essential if it's a scorcher, as you'll be spending a lot of time out in the open sunshine. Eye masks and earplugs are a game changer. It can be noisy 24/7 whilst you're trying to sleep, and the bright morning light can pierce through your tent, waking you up after you've hardly slept. I'd highly advise to get some of these for your shopping list. I would take a smaller daytime rucksack for storing everything you will need when you set out for the day. Fit as much alcohol as you can take out with you so you don't have to waste time going back and forth to restock at the tent. Glastonbury is one of the only festivals in the world where you can take as much alcohol as you like anywhere on the festival site. No $300 Coachella rounds or strict arena pints here. Take as much as you think you will need with you to the festival. It would be best to go overboard with the buying than under, as you will save a lot of money at the festival drinking your own booze, and it's convenient to have it at your campsite and not have to travel far and wide to grab a pint. Don't forget to take food with you for at the tent, as a quick bite to eat before you head out to a food stall will stop you going hungry. Food vendors can sometimes be situated quite far from your campsite, which makes it very inconvenient when you are hungry. And finally, don't forget to bring your medicines and prescriptions with you. The last thing you need is a medical emergency when smack bang in the middle of an enormous site. Next, we will take a look at some of the facilities that you will find on the farm. It's important to know the location of some of these places in case you will ever need to access them. There are a lot of things to find at Glastonbury that can help enhance your festival experience, and places you can go if you need help of any kind. In the event of an emergency, there is a large medical facility north of the big ground campsite, northeast of the pyramid stage. Here you can also find the area for police if dealing with a crime-related incident. If you have an accident, there are rapid response paramedic teams operating on the site, who can also usher you to safety in the event of an emergency. At the medical tent, you will find facilities such as X-rays, 24-hour GP services, physiotherapy, emergency dental facilities and a pharmacy to name a few. If you feel you need help or any information regarding medical emergencies, then please ask a steward, security, police or paramedic nearby who will be able to assist or direct you towards the best course of action. There are also smaller medical facilities located in the Park Home and Cabaret areas, as well as a first aid centre at the Worthy View campsite. On site you will find property lockups, where you can safely store any of your valuables. The lockups open at 8 AM Wednesday and close at 12 noon on Monday. There are 14 lockups situated around the site which are free of charge, open 24 hours a day and can be accessed whenever you choose. Here you can also obtain a Challenge 21 wristband so that you won't need to be constantly ID'd at the bars. There is a lost property area to the north of the big ground campsite right next to the medical tent. This is where you should head if you have lost something valuable for a chance of finding it again. If you have lost an item and it's not found before you leave the festival, then the lost property team may have discovered it and kept it safe for you. If you send an email to lostproperty@glastonburyfestivals.co.uk with all the necessary information regarding your item, then they will be able to send it back to you. If, God forbid, you lose a child at the festival, then they will be looked after at the Lost Kids area in the kids field. They will remain here until 7 PM and then will be handed over to the Worthy Welfare. There are 5 information points located around the site which can offer you any information you need to know about the festival and guide you in the direction of a place you may be trying to access. You can also get things such as earplugs, site maps, sun cream and a copy of the Glastonbury Free Press from these locations, among many other things. On site you will find a Co-op supermarket. Here you can buy a variety of things that you would normally find in your local supermarket. The Co-op can have quite busy queues at times, so it's best to go at a time when it's less busy. The Co-op will open from 12 noon on the Wednesday till 3 AM, and following that will be open from 7 AM till 3 AM every day for the remainder of the festival. You are able to purchase ice from the Co-op, which is worth more than gold at the festival. As part of the new partnership between Vodafone and Glastonbury, this year the EE Charging Centre has been replaced with a similar one by Vodafone. Here you can take your phone and charge it for free. However, there are normally big queues for this facility, as there were with EE. Alongside this, there is now the official Glastonbury app, which can be found on the Android or Apple stores. This is useful as you can scroll through and mark who you want to watch at the festival and formulate a lineup. The app will show you what stage the act you want to watch is on, as well as what time they are playing, split across the different days at the festival. Alternatively, all the times for each stage and day can be found on the Glastonbury website. If you need to find access to water, there are over 30 filling stations scattered around the farm. These can normally have large queues, so it's worth going to fill up your bottles when it's a bit quieter. The drinking water all comes from Bristol Water, and it's as safe to drink the water as in your own home. It is possible to have a proper shower at the festival, and these facilities can be found at the bottom of the kids field in the Greenpeace area. As I previously mentioned, these shower queues can be enormous, so unless you fell into the long drops, they aren't really worth wasting the time for. There are cash machines that can be found throughout the site but cost £2.95 to use, and sometimes can have queues. It would be worth saving yourself the hassle and bringing your own cash along beforehand if you are able to. Outside of Pedestrian Gate A, you can find the ticket box office. Here they will be able to help you with any ticket issues or inquiries and help you out if you have lost any of your festival documents. If you have any car issues in the car park whilst entering or leaving the festival, then there are AA breakdown services that can help with any issues. As well as this, there is a locksmith who can open car doors if you lose any keys, situated at the Bronze Gate. There is an enormous range of food and drink on offer throughout the site that pretty much covers any sort of cuisine that someone would like to enjoy. If you have any specific dietary requirements, such as veganism or are gluten-free, then there are many places that cater to these at the festival, so you need not panic. Really, you are spoilt for choice, and the different types of food you are able to enjoy can be the most varied you may have all year if you care to seek them out. Here is a small list of some of the different types of food vendors that can be found on the site. Some food options may be more on the expensive side, but there are many places that offer meals for £5, and at the Hare Krishna tent you are able to get food for free once a day. The Hare Krishna tent is a charity and is an amazing place with a welcoming, peaceful vibe. Watching all your favourite bands play on the main stages is an amazing experience, but there is so much to see that isn't shown on the telly. If there's someone you really want to see, then you must bear in mind how far you are from the stage, and getting to the stage early is beneficial so that you're able to see them and grab a good spot. Here is a list with all the walking times it takes to get between the stages. Use this accordingly as a rough idea of how long it will take to get you somewhere. Officially, the main stages and bands start playing on Friday through to Sunday, but there are a lot of other great things happening around the site on the Wednesday and Thursday also. You could spend 5 days nowhere near the main stages and have the best time of your life. If you fancy a pint, then the options are plentiful. The site has so many bars and cool drinking areas that you could even have a pub crawl across the site on the Wednesday or Thursday before the main acts begin. The Healing Fields hosts many workshops that you can get involved with and has classes such as yoga, meditation and dancing. You are also able to get a massage here or have a sauna experience at the Lost Horizon tent and do some relaxing if you choose. In the crafts field, there are countless workshops to take part in which are worth looking into if you fancy doing something a bit more chilled out. You will get to experience a completely different side of the mainstream music festival here, and it's a really lovely area to be in. The circus area hosts a wide range of performing arts and is a spectacular area in itself. There is even a market that you can buy an assortment of different quirky goodies at. You can send a postcard to your friends and family at one of the stalls here. Pick up a copy of the Glastonbury Free Press on site, as you can find first-hand information here about any secret sets or the TBA slots on the site. You can use the Wednesday to get your bearings and just explore the site, before the smaller areas and the southeast corner section opens up to party. The site hosts a truly wild variety of areas, like the Common, the Unfairground, Arcadia, Shangri-La, the Rabbit Hole, the Underground Piano Bar, the Glade, and the Woods to name a few. The festival itself is best left to discovery, so go out there and have the best week of your life. Explore, lose yourself, live in the moment and make new friends. You are in for a memorable experience. Here are my top 5 things to do at your first Glastonbury. Watch your favourite band on the most iconic stage in the world, the Pyramid Stage. Visit the Glastonbury sign at the top of the park, and maybe even climb the Ribbon Tower for the best view the festival has to offer. You won't forget it. Attend the Phoenix Bonfire to celebrate the beginning of the festival on the Wednesday night. Be there for the opening of the Temple on the Thursday night, one of the most epic and exclusive drum and bass arenas in the world. And most importantly, savour the time at Glastonbury with your friends and loved ones. It's going to be one hell of a ride.